Hello my lovely friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty. I go by Pattymac Makes everywhere online. Today I want to share with you my latest finished project, and you can see it right behind me. This project started last May, and as I'm filming this for you today, it is a cold wintry day in mid-January of 2023. And I purchased last May a quilting kit from a small shop called Maker Valley. I really like Maker Valley. And what she had was a series of strips that she had cut that were 5 inches wide by about 20 inches long. And she gave you like 45 strips and multiple collections. And this particular one was based on pinks. I love anything pink. I think really of pink as being a neutral. I love it so much. And so when I saw that kit, I was like, I really like that. And my initial thought process was that I was going to use bits from her kit to construct a border for a strawberry quilt that I'm working on. I constructed the border, I didn't sew it on, but I sewed the border strips and then put them on the design wall with the strawberry, and I was like, no, that did not work. It looked good in the pattern illustration I worked on, the computer design, but when I saw it in real life, it was too much. It just, I found the border competed with the design of the strawberry. So what happened? I took the rows that I had made and I put them all back into a 2-gallon bag, which is how I store projects. They go into 2-gallon Ziploc bags. I closed it all up and I just put it away in one of my bus boxes that I use to organize projects. And then summer came and I just was swamped with the garden. And I didn't sew it all this summer. I had no time. Everything was involved in the gardening and the yard and all of that stuff. And I'm not doing it quite the same this year because it was too much. And then the fall came, and then if you don't know, I had, I would call it extensive water damage, my own mistake. And it involved basically having to redo the back side of the house, and we were able to get all of our carpet replaced, which meant I had to pull everything out of the house, and it has been like moving. So after everything got put back together and I had my house back and I started unpacking, I was like, I need something to work on. I needed to sew something, and I wound up rummaging through that bus bin because I didn't even remember what was in there. And in doing so, found that bag with those rows, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I laid them down, and I thought, I kind of like how that looks. And so that's how this began. I wound up digging through my stash and pulling quite a few Ruby Star and other, I think there's some Pioneer Woman fabric also in here, but basically just went through my stash and pulled all of my pinks and yellows and cut them just randomly into different squares and rectangles. What was fun with this was I didn't plan anything. I just cut up a bunch of stuff and started putting it together. And to me, that is really fun. With quilting, it's very structured, and you have to really plan some stuff, especially if you're doing a large project. There is a lot of mental gymnastics that goes into making sure that you have fabric A, fabric B, fabric C, and depending on the complexity, it can be many, many different fabrics and cuts, and it can be a lot. And with this, I just like cut some stuff, put it together, and ran with it. So I did find it was a fun way to use up some fabric that I had in my scraps, and I got to use them in this project, and everything worked really well. I've received so many compliments on the look of this quilt and the colors. People are just loving the colors, and I'm going to tell you why I think it works so well. And I think it works so well because it's a very limited color range. And I'll pull out the color wheel and we'll take a closer look at that. And I'm going to talk with you about that whole thing and why using a color wheel to design your own version of this is going to be your best friend. So anyway, so the front of the quilt top is all quilting cotton and a combination of what I bought in that original kit, which I'm sorry to let you know, it is not available anymore. She has other kits, but this particular one is not there. So, and then for my binding, I wound up using a pink polka dot that's a Joanne print, and I had that in my stash for years. The finished quilt worked out to be approximately a twin-sized quilt. And when I measured it out, it required 7 width of fabric strips to make the whole binding. And let me show you what I had left. So this is what was left over. This little bit. So this is maybe 10 inches. As I talked with you in the tutorial video about this project, what I wound up doing was putting it together in sections. And I just randomly decided that I liked handling a section with 4 rows. And so I would just do enough at a time to make the 4 rows and put those together. And then when I was ready to start putting together the quilt top, I laid out those sections and then figured out what section I wanted to put with what other section. It wound up being very uneven on the edges, and you know, just kind of lined them up the best I could. And then when the entire quilt top was sewn together and I laid it out, I trimmed everything evenly. A consequence of doing it that way is that I wound up having end pieces that are all different sizes. But you know what? I really wound up liking that. It just adds to the scrappiness and the whole patchwork feel of the project, so that like even on the end pieces, like you can see, oops, under here, this white one, how skinny that strip is compared to that one, compared to that one, they're all different. And I really like that. And if you had to try to cut all of your pieces to get the unevenness look, it would be a lot of like really crazy precision cutting, and this was a lot more fun. For my backing, I wound up going with a bed sheet. And it was a flat sheet from some twin size sheets that we had. And I mean, it was just about entirely used. I only had a little bit of scrap left over on one side once I finished my quilting. And I used a whole package of twin sized quilt batting. I wound up using, it's called Warm and White, and it's all cotton. And this is the bag. I got this, I get all of my quilt batting on the Joanne site. I only buy it on sale with coupons. And what I wind up doing when there's a good sale and hopefully a coupon or a discount code, I'll buy a few and stack them away, and then I have them on hand when I'm working on something. I really don't like to have to run to the store every time I'm starting something new to have to go pick up stuff. I really don't like that, and especially now, you never know what kind of stock your store is going to have on hand, and you know, I don't have time to go from store to store to store. I'm sure that's relatable for you. You know, who has time for that? I don't have time for it. So what I do is just like with my grocery shopping now. I pay attention to what I use. I pay attention to what I need when I'm getting low on something. When I start to get low on something, I monitor the sales. And when I see something I'm going to use anyway go on sale for a really good price, I'll just go buy several items. So this is, it was all white, and what am I looking for? Oh, it's made in the USA. So yeah, this company Warm and White. They are made in the USA. I love this actually. So this is cotton fiber grown and processed in the US. So you know I'm going to recommend that. You know, we are always trying to, well, I don't say we, I say me. I always look for made in America wherever I can. If I can purchase from domestic, that's my first go-to always. So I'm going to highly recommend Warm Company to you. Yeah, cotton fiber grown and processed in the US. And if I had to guess, these are probably the only ones doing that. So I wound up going with, it's like a sage green, which I thought, you know, is beautiful with the front. So again, we're working with our color wheel, because on your color wheel, red and green are opposite. So here you have red and green. And this would be considered a tint, because obviously that saturated green has been brought way down in value because there's white mixed in, basically. So I just thought it looked really pretty. And you know, the sage green, that's sort of a relaxing color, you know, and this is my quilt for when I get the opportunity to take a nap, if that ever happens again. That's what I wanted this for. I have this nice relaxing color on the back, and then all my beautiful patchwork on the front. Something else that I wound up doing with this quilt, and I'm just kind of doing it in general now with the Ruby Star fabrics in particular, is I'm actually leaving, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, depends on the project, but I'm tending to leave the selvage on. Because in the Ruby Star, the selvage is just, it's not different from the base of the fabric. It's the same thing. And they just have like, I don't know, really pretty or unique and interesting looks to their selvages. So I have been, in many cases, leaving them on the cut of fabric. And I just thought that was really fun. Again, with the scrappiness of the look of the quilt. It just, I don't know, it makes it more, what's the word? Like down home, I guess. Makes it more homespun. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. And yeah, I think this is a fun project. So I think what I'll do is just take the camera and I'll just like scan so that you can see some of the bits a little bit closer, and then we'll reconvene with the color wheel and we'll just take a look at that really quick. And then I think that's all that I have to really say about the project. If you have any specific questions about it, just drop them below in the comments. I do strive really hard to answer every single comment, and if you have a question or something, you know, drop it below and I will, you know, do my best to get back with you right away. Okay, so I'm going to just get behind the camera. I'm going to just like scan over the surface of the quilt so that you can see it a little bit better, and we'll just put some music behind that and let you enjoy it. And then my camera dropped. This happens constantly now. So I'm filming this part talking to you, and I have no idea if I'm in the frame, where I am in the frame, nothing, because I lost my connection to my monitor, which is my phone. I really need some new tech, but anyway, as I was saying, we'll reconvene and we'll take a look at things on the color wheel, and that will be our video for today. Okay, without any further ado, let's just take a look at this beautiful quilt behind me. This is the color wheel that I use, and it's got quite a lot of information on it. So you have this side of the wheel, and then we have this side of the wheel. And so they're a little bit different. Here you can see where they're talking about the tints. So when you add white, let's just go to our pure yellow. So you can see when you add the white, it takes it down from that sunshine yellow to more of like a butter yellow. If you add black, which is how we create a shade, you wind up getting kind of a muddy green looking shade actually, which is kind of interesting. So anyway, they all have their place. Nothing is, you know, better or worse. That's not what this is about. It's just, you know, it's just what it is. So, but let's look on this side. So on this side, this is where you get your information on complementaries and split complementaries and tetradic and all of this type of thing. And here we have all of these colors next to each other. And when you have colors next to each other, they're analogous. Okay, that just means they fall next to each other in the color wheel. And the quilt perfectly runs from the red violet over here to the yellow orange. And what we'll do is we'll go back over to the quilt, and I'll just like point out some of these examples. Now it's not perfect because there's a little bit of blue in there because some of the prints have blue. There's a touch of green, but overall, when we look at the quilt from a distance, what we're seeing are values, color values in these ranges. But see how when you go to the red, it is the fire engine red up here, but then as you move through, it changes. And so what I would say to you is, if you wanted to do a project like this and you wanted to play with your color, pick values that are analogous on a wheel, and they're going to look great. I mean, this quilt just kind of proves that. So let's just, for purposes of picking something out, let's go to a whole different range. So at the opposite end, you could start with your blue violets and move all the way over to your yellow greens and have the same type of feel. And I mean, this might actually be a fun experiment to do, and to see about making this same basic quilt, but in these color values, color ranges. Anyway, I just think it's interesting. The color wheel really is your friend. I'll also tell you, I just finished a course. I'm going to go back and go through it again. It was from Sara Watts, and she's one of the designers for Ruby Star. Oh, wait a minute. Plane. Okay, I live close to the Navy base, and so we get a lot of jet activity, but anyway. As I was saying, it could be really fun to do another version of this in the cool tones. From green over to violet, or if we just leave the violet out altogether, what if we just went from the blue violet all the way around to the yellow green? That could be really cool, actually. So yeah, and you could do something like this, from the yellow orange all the way over to the blue green. And you know, so like if you wanted to go to the fabric store and pick some things in a range, you know, take your color wheel with you. This is what I do. I take the wheel with me, and if I know I want to have something, just say we wanted something in the blue green and the yellow orange, I take my wheel with me and will put the wheel onto fabric and determine if it falls into these ranges, because you just can't. I mean, okay, if you're like if you're really advanced in color mixing, you might be able to do that by sight, but for those of us who are mere mortals, taking your color wheel with you in your purse to the fabric store is a good idea. As I was saying before the plane flew over, I just finished taking an online course from Sara Watts, who is one of the designers at Ruby Star. She did a course on, oh gosh, what did she call it? Color for Quilters or something. I'll put the correct name below here where I'm speaking. And I'll give you a link over to her website where she offers this class. I thought it was well worth the money. And I thought she did a really great job of demonstrating through her own designs how she mixed her color and her mindset on picking color, and it was very good. It was a very good class, and I hear from a lot of you that putting things together is a little bit of a struggle. And it's not just you. It is something that we all have to really think about. Now, somebody else, it may come like second nature. But for those of us who are mere mortals, yeah, you have to put a little thought into it. And the wheel does help. And I know some people are very confused about how to use their color wheel. And basically just get it. I'll link the one that I use. It is an Amazon link, so it's an affiliate link, but I'll put that for you below. Get that, take that with you to the fabric store and just, use it and experiment with it. And I think you will see that your own attempts at color design will vastly improve once you just kind of jump in and start using it. And if we need to talk about maybe doing a project together that lets us kind of do this type of thing, let me know if you find that helpful. Okay, let's just take a quick peek at where some of these values fall within the quilt, and then you can just kind of see how, oh, okay, that does work. And that color does appear in the fabric. So, all right, let's take a look. Okay, so this is our color range. We're working from red violet over to yellow orange, and mostly concentrating in the red to, I would say, orange range. So let's just kind of see what's going on over here. I should tell you, I'm doing this without a monitor, so hopefully everything's in the frame. But you can see like this square very closely represents or matches this color value here. If we come down to this square, which I love, by the way, you can see it's almost a perfect match to this yellow-orange. And then this is like hard-boiled eggs. And then in the middle is the yolk, and that is a perfect orange. Come next to it. Here we're back to the pink. And then this value is more of a red-orange. And then if we come over to this yellow, it's sort of this muted yellow-orange shade, and then within here we've got the red-orange and almost, I would say, a pink. Okay, let me get to this one, and this is where those red violets come in, and you can see this is almost exactly the red violet. And then right next to it, here we have yellow-orange. And so on. And then here's another red violet. This one has, I would say, the orange as well as a pink, and it starts to get down into these values here. That's the video for today. I sure appreciate you stopping by and hanging out, and I hope you enjoyed taking a deeper dive look at the Mismatched Patchwork quilt, my most recent finished project. I hope that kind of jumping into the color wheel discussion a little bit kind of, I don't know, gets your creative wheels turning, and that it helps you to want to kind of dip your toe into that pond. I hope it inspires you to dip your toe into that pond and to be a little more adventurous and experimental in your own color projects at home. As always, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, for watching the videos, for participating. It means so much. You just don't even know. So until next time, my friends, stay positive and keep quilting. and I will see you around YouTube.